Hey there, everybody. Welcome to day 3 of the 7-day Learn to Meditate video course. And I'm Kristin from Teaching Balance, here to guide you on your continuing journey. And so just to recap, last time, if you remember, we did the body scan, which, as you may recall, was a practice where we scan through different parts of your body. And hopefully you found that that was pretty useful in terms of having a very concrete object for your awareness to rest on, to go from, body part to body part. And if you were interested, you may have also taken the challenge of trying that body scan for sleep recording. So I'd be curious to actually hear how that was for you. And of course, hopefully you're continuing to still take all of those mindful minutes. But while the body scan is something that is one object of awareness that you can focus on, and the other term that we use for that is anchor. Another, probably the best known one, is actually using the breath as the object of your awareness. And so that's going to be our focus today. But before we get into that, one of the things that I thought would be helpful is to just revisit and perhaps explore some other metaphors that may be helpful in having more of an understanding and a way to think about what's going on in your mind. So of course, when you are aware of what's going on in your mind, and a couple of sessions ago we talked about being that sort of witness in the balcony, watching what's happening on stage, which hopefully helps you to give you a little bit of perspective in that regard. And the other metaphor that I want to introduce to you that I've found very helpful for me is how to think about your thoughts, and the fact that your thoughts are not necessarily reflective of your present moment experience. And then the other way that I've heard it expressed is don't believe everything you think. And the other one is you are not your thoughts, which is a good thing, I think, because at least for me, I've had some very messed up thoughts in my life, and I'm glad that they are not necessarily me or a reflection of me, but really just some of the things that might have been passing through my mind at a given moment. And so here's the metaphor that I think is helpful for a lot of people. We've all, of course, been to the movies, and when you go to the theater and if you are watching a really good movie, you are most likely really dialed into it. So you can notice maybe there's the music and the tension is rising and something scary or exciting is going to happen, and you actually have a physical response. Your heart starts beating faster. You are physically responding to what you're seeing on this screen. And we've all had that experience of being completely identified with what's occurring in the movie. But then we've all probably also had the experience where sometimes somebody will make a noise or they'll drop their popcorn or whatever, and it kind of pulls you out of that movie, and you look around and you see the exit sign and the person that you came to the movie with, but you're not as identified with or dialed into the movie that you were just a moment ago. Now you're actually back in reality, and the only thing that's happening is you're sitting in this theater. So I like to think of thoughts basically as being like those images on the screen. Because if you think about it, the only thing that's actually happening for you right now is you are sitting wherever you are sitting in this moment, watching this video. And depending on where you are, if you're in a public place or a private place, there's only so much that you can be aware of in your present moment experience. And that's really all that's happening. So when we think about memories that we can recall and in some cases ruminate about, and things that in some cases can actually even plague us, it's useful to remember that they're not happening right now, even though they have the power to affect us in the present, much in the same way that the images on a screen, if we identify with them, can affect us in the present moment, even though that's not what's happening to us right now either. And it's the same with the future. All of the fears and worries and concerns, or if you want to go the more appealing route, the fantasies and the plans, none of those have actually happened yet, and they may not, which, for the anxieties and the fears and the worries is a good thing. But that's not happening right now either, and those are also just images in your mind. For the memories, you're probably recalling something that has happened before, so it's probably images in your mind that are from a direct experience that you had. And then for these future things, it's more about the images that you're creating and the things that you're visualizing and projecting and all of that sort of stuff. So the reason I bring up this metaphor is when we sit in meditation, like we will in a little bit, I would invite you to notice when you've gotten pulled into the movie of your thoughts, and kind of swept away, and all of those things that happen to us, because that's just how our mind works, and to see if you can just notice that you're lost in thought and wake up from that movie of your mind. Because really, if we were to do that mindful minute that we've done a few times already, all you're doing is you're just noticing the thoughts that are arising in your mind, and all they really are is images and bits of language. I mean, they're not what's happening right now. So I think it's very freeing to be reminded of that fact, which I think we all deep down know is true. But these are just images. These are recalled images or created images, and are in most cases really not reflective of what's happening in this moment. So again, just to reiterate another point that we made in a previous session, when you catch yourself thinking, and I even hesitate to use that term because it sounds negative, but for lack of a better one, when you catch yourself thinking, your job is to just be aware of, oh, that's a thought, or if you want to be more specific, a memory, a plan, whatever, and then let it be there. Like, see it for what it is. Don't just try to, put your head in the sand and push it away. It's not about a rejection of those things. You're actually allowing yourself to see it for what it is. It's a memory, it's a plan. And then you will just pivot and turn your attention back to whatever is the object of your awareness for that practice that you're choosing to do for however long you've chosen to do it. And so for today, that practice is going to be the breath awareness. And so as we get ready to transition into our meditation, which will be a little bit shorter today, we're just going to do 5 minutes. I would invite you to, when you notice those thoughts arising while you're sitting today, just realize what they are, see them in that way as an image and some language, and then gently return your attention back to the present. And again, keeping it very light, not putting a lot of pressure on yourself, not feeling bad if you feel like you've been lost in thought for most of the meditation. We're letting go of all of that, the criticism and the judgment and the expectation, and we'll talk more about that in depth in another session. But just really try to maintain that sense of lightness and acceptance for however your experience is for this particular practice. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm just going to go ahead and set up my 5 minutes. And I will just prompt you on how to focus on the breath as we begin. So go ahead and find that mindful posture, sitting upright but not too rigid, or standing in a way that's grounded, upright but not tense. And when you're ready, go ahead and either close your eyes or lower your gaze. And let's begin with a few deep breaths. We do this whether we're focusing on the breath or not, as a way to activate that relaxation response and to help us to inhabit our bodies more fully while we practice for these 5 minutes. And after you've taken a few deep, luxurious belly breaths, allowing your breathing to resume its natural rhythm, and because our anchor for this practice is the breath, I want you to notice where you feel it most easily in your body. So is it the rising and falling of your chest? Perhaps your abdomen? Maybe it's even in the nasal cavity or just outside your nostrils. There's no right way to feel your breath, so if you can't determine which one's easiest, just pick one at random. Noticing what that sensation feels like. And you can cover the breath with your awareness, resting your awareness on the rhythm of the inhale and exhale without switching it or changing it in any way, just allowing it to be natural. Thankfully, we will breathe without making an effort to do so. And remembering, because watching your breath isn't terribly interesting, you may find that your mind leads you away to think about more interesting memories or plans. And whatever those are, whatever images present themselves to you in your mind, or perhaps bits of language, just see it for what it is. It's just a thought. And then, when you're ready, bring your attention back to the breath. And if you care to, you can pay special attention to that moment at the top of the inhale, just before the exhale, and that bottom at the top of, or the bottom of the exhale, just before the inhale. And for these next few minutes, allowing this to be an opportunity to take a break from the obligation of following your thoughts, to exercise your ability to choose to stay in one place, and to just be present with your breath as it is in this moment. Coming back again and again, and resting your awareness on the breath. That was 5 minutes. So if that felt short for you and you want to try something a little bit longer, I will put a link in this email to a 10-minute breath practice so that you have that experience of going a little bit longer. And as far as taking all of this off the cushion, what I would invite you to do is, for those mindful minutes where you just pause and ground yourself in the present, I would invite you to consider just noticing the breath and having that be what you rest your awareness on for that 10 seconds or 30 seconds or 60 seconds or more. And just notice. I mean, in many cases, you may find that your breathing is more shallow than expected. And you don't even have to try to change the breath. I think once you allow yourself to observe it, it may change itself naturally. But it's not even about having to take deep breaths or anything like that if you choose not to. And then the other thing I would encourage you to do is, if you don't want to try the 10-minute breathing practice that I'll put the link down for, you could also just do this one again. So I know one of the big things that's very difficult is how to carve out the time to practice on a daily basis. But 5 minutes isn't too long. And so if it's possible for you to do 5 minutes, what you can do is open up this email as a web page and maybe bookmark it on your computer or on your cell phone or whatever, is the most likely place that you will access it again. And replay this. You may be able to do it before a difficult phone call at work. You can do it just as a way to take a mini break between projects or classes or whatever you might be doing. And so that's just another invitation to try to work this into your day, especially as we come to the latter part of the 7-day course. One of the things we'll talk about is trying to make this a habit. So this might be a good way to dip a toe into that habit-making process. So thanks so much for being with me and practicing with me, and I look forward to practicing with you next time. Take care. Bye.